Here we go. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Late Night with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me. It's been a minute. There's been some crazy stuff going on. I've had a lot of technical difficulties. Speaking of which, for some reason, my microphone is playing tricks on me today. Can you guys hear me all right? Because so far, I've tested this thing like 5 or 6 times tonight, and the cord keeps coming unplugged. So there it is. So just I'm watching your comments as this thing goes on. So if you suddenly cannot hear me, let me know. Just send me a note. BDD, your mic is out. Thank you. All right. So Cha Cha says I can hear you fine. I see Claudia's here. That damn Alaskan. Bernadette H. Pam Ham is here. Asmilla J is here. But the Trump Reaper, of course. Veronica Tello, Eddie G, Lucy L. The gang is all here. Can I say Pam Ham? Pam Ham, by the way, it's so much fun to say your name. All right, so tonight we got some issues to discuss. I called the name of tonight's show is Gaza gaslighting got you. Trump, Musk, George Santos. I miss you guys too, Lucy L. Everybody. Here, let me just cut this thing off here. Yeah, so there's some crazy stuff going on nowadays. Big topic in the news is that the House Ethics Committee released its report, and come to find out that George Santos has been a bad little boy. Elon Musk, he there was a reason he allowed all of these nasty people back on the platform. It's because he is a kindred spirit. And speaking of kindred spirit, there's another kindred spirit there who this guy, jackass Spanky McDumbass, who is calling our fellow Americans, you and I, us, we, us, calling us vermin. Vermin. Not a good look for a former president of the United States who aspires to be the next one. Not as long as we have anything to say about it. What's up, Cecile Kazemi? I see you there, my friend. And Moyo One from Cleveland. And Watcher Soko. Please remember, if you're watching this live right now or you're catching the replay, please remember to hit the subscribe and the like button. The like, it looks like a thumbs up, like that right there. Please make sure you hit that. It helps our channel tremendously. And so before I get into things, you guys know that that wifey and I play fantasy football, right? So the season is in full swing. My team, the Brooklyn Magic, is 7-3. 7-3. I am in first place. Let me knock on wood there. Knock on wood. I'm in first place, and that's all you need to know. My team is rocking. And wifey's team had a rough start to the season. Her team started 1-4, and all of a sudden just started coming back, and now her team is 5-5. Now you might be looking at 5-5 and thinking, oh, that's not so great. Actually, she's just 2 games out of first place. Believe it or not, there's a lot of parity. It's the playing field is level in my league, my 14 team league. So this week we are playing each other. It's terrible because I love her team. Actually, I do love her team, but I also love my team. So I'm not going easy on her. She's not going easy on me. She's going all out. Let's see. Right now, this picture was taken about an hour ago, and she's got 1 point from her kicker, Justin Tucker, who is normally the number one kicker in the league, but he's got to be put in the position to kick field goals. And let's see what's he doing now. Oh, now he's got 6 points. He's got 6 points. And that does not bode well for me, but whatever. Anyway, in other news, wifey and I are watching. We just started watching this show. It's called Lawmen, Bass Reeves, and it's starring the guy who played Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the movie Selma, David. I don't want to butcher his last name, Oyelowo. I'm going to say it's Oyelowo. Final answer. And he plays a guy who, when the show starts off, he's a slave, and one thing leads to another. It's the show starts around 1862, so the Civil War is actually still in full swing, and he's like a subservient slave. And then, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but one thing leads to another, and he is uplifted out of slavery and finds himself in a position to become a U.S. Marshal. That's all I can say. I've only watched 2 episodes so far. I'm up to episode 3. I would have watched the 3rd episode, but I had to prep for tonight's show. Veronica says David Oyelowo. I'm pronouncing it Oyelowo. Final answer. But it's some great acting there. And here's the funny thing: we were watching this last night, and I was wondering if this was a true story, and that was where it ended. That's where my wondering ended. And despite the fact that I have basically a computer, the power of a computer in my hand, I didn't bother to Google that. So it wasn't until tonight, I was tonight years old, when I found out that, yes, there was a Bass Reeves, right? He was actually a real person. And then that's a picture of him there on the left, and on the right there's a book. It says The Legend of Bass Reeves, and it says being the true and fictional account of the most valiant marshal in the West. So I believe it's true. I don't know if his depiction is embellished in the show or whatnot, but I'm really loving this show. It's on Paramount TV. I think that's the equivalent of CBS. So if you have an opportunity to check it out, it's great. It's a great show. I really, really love it so far. And I think it's limited. I think it's only supposed to be like a limited series, 4 or 6 episodes. All right, let's dive into what the fahizi is going on with the Republican Party. What the hell? What the hell? We are seeing nothing but straight up, unadulterated, full-fledged madness. It's like a fever dream. These guys they've lost all sense of composure whatsoever. Usually, you tune in to an episode to the proceedings in the House of Representatives on C-SPAN, and it's so boring you could fall asleep. The distinguished gentleman from Alabama will be recognized, and blah blah blah. And this is a scene here on the screen. If you happen to be watching, this is from the 15 rounds of voting for the House Speaker, which Kevin McCarthy ultimately just won out of, I think, just from sheer exhaustion. People were like, all right, fuck it. We'll make Kevin McCarthy. And this dude here wanted to throw hands. He clearly wanted a piece of Matt Gaetz, and I guess Matt Gaetz has that effect on people. Uh, he is obnoxious idiot asshole. Speaking of obnoxious idiot assholes, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert, you may recall, only just recently was, you can't even say she was shamed, because you have to have a sense of propriety. You have to have a sense of shame in order to feel to be shamed. And she most recently found herself being expelled from a theater, not from Congress, expelled from a theater, being escorted from the theater. Somebody said she used to be an escort, but they said she was escorted from the theater after vaping, shouting out loud, and being very disruptive. And let's not forget giving her Democratic boyfriend a handy in the middle of a theater full of families and children. Families and children whacking it. She was I saw JoJo JoJo from Church wrote the other day, thought it was very funny. She said she was jacking his beanstalk. I could only muster myself. I said she was juicing his beetle. And so somebody is calling somebody a whore. I think it might have been Marjorie Taylor Greene directing that at Lauren Boebert, or it could have been the other way around. Very, very, very unfortunate. And then that takes us to Senator Mark Wayne Mullen from Oklahoma. And let me just set the first of all, he's a senator, right? You kind of expect that wild shit from the House, because the House is just, the way I see Congress, I see the House as the rowdy, unruly junior varsity, but the Senate is like, Senate is the Senate. There's only 100 of them in there. And they are supposed to be, they're really supposed to carry themselves a different way. And there was this Senate hearing, Sean O'Brien, the Teamsters president, was being questioned. And Mark Wayne Mullen, I guess, had a big sad because Sean O'Brien had posted some mean tweets. I can't tell if I had $1 for every time I saw a Trumper on Twitter saying, "Oh, I bet you miss Trump. I rather Trump's mean tweets over President Biden." Blah 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 blah. Mark Wayne Mullen just lost his shit publicly in a Senate hearing because someone posted mean tweets about him on the interwebs. Claudia said her money's on the Teamsters. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Sean O'Brien probably could have taken him, right? But there's a few caveats here, right? Mark Wayne Mullen used to fight MMA. If you don't know MMA, that's mixed martial arts. So I don't know if he's still training for that shit, if his body is overflowing with testosterone that he doesn't know what to do with. That damn molasses says, I thought he was standing up when he was sitting down. Yeah, so he started reading the tweet, and in the tweet, Sean O'Brien said something like, "I wish you would stop trying to be such a tough guy, cowboy. We can meet. I can meet you anytime, any place." And so here's Mark Wayne Mullen. This is his moment. This is his cowboy moment saying, well, here's a time and here's a place. You want to do this? I'm ready to do this. And he's like, and Sean O'Brien says, yeah, I'm ready to do this. And then Mullen says, well, stand your ass up. And then O'Brien says, you stand your ass up. And then he stood up. And then Bernie was like, all right, stop. Everybody, quiet, calm down. Remember, you are a United States Senator. You are. What the ever living unreal. Okay, Cecile Kasim is telling me it's Oyelowo. Oyelowo. That's an extra syllable that I now resent. David Oyelowo. I'll figure it out. Oh, Claudia says, I heard Mark Wayne lost all his fights. Yes. My buddy at Really American posted a tweet about that yesterday and said that he had 3 fights, lost all 3 of them, spent a grand total of 10 minutes in the ring. 10 minutes. And he lost. Everybody sit down. Come on. Senator Mullen, you are a United States Senator. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Don't make me stop this car and turn it around. I will. It's unreal. It's unreal where the Republican Party has allowed itself to fall. Yeah. And they would have you think, they would have us think that everything's okay, that this is the way, they're trying to gaslight the hell out of us. This is the way that government is supposed to work. This is us not agreeing with each other and we're hashing things out. No, you're acting like assholes. Thank you. Here we go. Veronica Tello. Plain and simple, no decorum. You conduct yourselves with decorum. These elected officials are supposed to be the best of us. The best of us. These are people who make $174,000 a year and have awesome health care. Awesome health care. Terrific benefits. This is what we're paying them for? This is some fucking bullshit. And don't even get me started on this jackass. He shouldn't be getting paid at all. Because apparently, according to the House Ethics Committee, the House Ethics Committee released a 55-page report today. And that report revealed that Representative George Santos is no good. He has been a very, very bad boy. He's been taking his campaign funds, spending it on Botox. Why does anybody use Botox? I don't get it. I mean, I understand in some limited instances, Botox maybe has some actual health benefits. I don't know, but it seems to me like the primary use of Botox, it's a vanity thing. You want to, make your lips look bigger. Why would anyone want bigger lips? I don't know. Why can't you be happy with what you got? They want to erase wrinkles. How old is this guy? He's got to be no older than 40. What do you need Botox for? Excuse me. All that money he paid for jeggings. Yes. Not only that, spent money on, what did I say? Botox, OnlyFans. For those of you who don't know, OnlyFans is I guess it's a porn site where people pay, actually. Yeah, people pay individuals, I think, for custom shows. Commercials tell me it can help with migraines. Okay, Esmila J says that the Botox can help with migraines. And a whole lot of stuff. Fashion, he's gone shopping like crazy. He's made fancy, lavish trips to Atlantic City. Um, Spent $800 at Ferragamo and he couldn't find a jacket that fits. Oh, yes. Hey, hello, General Putnam. I see you there. Glad you made it. He says he had a rough day, but in the news that Lil Mark Wayne lost all 3 fights, 10 minutes in the ring. Oklahoma cowbilly bravura even hollower than Texans. Ooh, them's fighting words. Them's fighting words. Yeah. So, strangely enough, the House Ethics Committee did not recommend expulsion. Did not recommend expulsion. I find that peculiar. They uncovered the mother lode of wrongdoings and they're like, just leave him. He's fine. I think it hurts the Republican Party. Hey, Simon. Everybody, Simon's here, you guys. Simon's here. Welcome, Simon. Uh, Simon, you don't even have to sweat it. He's like worried that he's a little late. My dude, like it's way past everybody's bedtime where you were signing in from. So thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Yeah, so they did not recommend to expel him. However, I think if the Republican Party chooses not to expel him, part of me is like, what's wrong with you? Because I like seeing things the way they're supposed to be. Call me crazy, but if I'm walking down a hallway and a painting is askew, if it's not perfectly square, 90-degree angle, that bugs me, right? And right now, the Republican Party is askew. And I know that we're supposed to dislike them. They're the enemy, so to speak. But honestly, they are part of a whole. Whether we like it or not, the Republicans in the House are part of a whole. It's a fucked up part. Like if you were eating an apple, right? And you come to the part, it's all bruised, you maybe you don't want to eat that bruised part. It's still part of the apple. Some people do eat that bruised part of the apple. I don't like the bruised part of the apple. I don't. I cut around it. Seriously, I don't like it. But it's still apple, I suppose. And at the end of the day, Republicans, like them or love them or hate them, they are part of the government. So we got to work with them one way or the other. And it helps if they're able to function, at the very least, function properly. Alaska Cindy says that they are voting on the resolution mañana. That's good news. Thank you for that. I'm curious. I'm waiting on bated breath to see what they decide to do about him. And I also wonder, like, I know Hakeem Jeffries is doing his thing, and I know he's been around long enough to see how it works, to see how the House is supposed to work. He paid attention while Nancy Pelosi was doing her thing, right? So he would have met, I believe, with Mike Johnson and said, "Hey, what's your caucus doing about this guy?" And what are you gonna? Can you break us off something if we step in and help you on this resolution? Maybe. Could be wrong, but I think a lot of stuff that goes on in the House in Congress is very transactional. I'll do this if you do that. Pretty sure that's what it is. Um, so Santos says that he is not going to resign. At this point, that decision might be out of his hands right now. He might have no say in the matter after tomorrow. But it would have been an honorable thing to do. You know, I think Americans, I think the American public, um, and I don't know, maybe I'm giving the American public too much credit. What I remember of the American public is that we used to respect people who did the right thing, who did the honorable thing, you know? And perhaps if he was contrite, perhaps if he was less evasive, perhaps if he said, you know, I messed up. I messed up. And I'm very remorseful about it. I feel like I let the American people down and I let myself down. Yeah, there's many things I wish I could have done differently or taken back. All I can hope to do now is learn from my mistakes and pray that someday, the American people will forgive me and give me another chance. If he said something like that, guys, I just made that up on the spot. Literally, I'm not reading from anything. It's literally just extemporaneously made that up. If he even came anywhere in the neighborhood of some statement like that, maybe he'd have a chance. I can't imagine anybody voting for this jackass, 2 years from now, 4 years from now, maybe 12 years from now, when people kind of sort of forget about what he did. 12 years, I think. 12 years. Look at what Esmila J is saying here. I agree with this. We all make mistakes, and if someone says different, they are wrong. That's right. It's absolutely right. Oh, look at this. Check this out. Lucy L says if he resigns, they might get someone really corrupt with a law degree acting like a real dirty politician and a snake. Meaning, Lucy, they'll get somebody who fits right in. Excuse me. Okay. So yeah, but George Santos would have us believe that all of this stuff is normal. He was trying to tell us actually that that he was innocent and he was going to be vindicated and all that stuff. Well, I don't know. Maybe the entire House Ethics Committee had it in for him and they cooked the evidence or whatever. I don't think so. There's Republicans on that House Ethics Committee too. Don't look good for you, buddy. Does not look good. And again, speaking of not looking good, very bad, the worst look for right now. You guys know what's happening right now, right? In the Middle East, in Israel, in Gaza, in Gaza. Well, first, in Israel, Israel was attacked on October 7th. It was a heinous attack in which 1,500 people, Israelis, were killed, murdered, men, women, and children. Approximately 250 people were kidnapped, were taken from their homes, and who knows if they're still alive? Nobody even knows. And they were taken by people who do not believe, by Hamas, people who do not believe that Israelis have a right, that Jews have a right to live. And I started to just say Israelis, and then I caught myself. I realized that Hamas actually they have no patience for Israelis or Jews, because Israelis, if you live in Israel, you could also be an Arab. You could actually also be a Muslim and live in Israel. So I'm talking about Jews. This is a Jewish thing. There is a lot of anti-Semitic stuff going on in the world right now. Oh, and that reminds me. God damn it. Um, Before jumping on to Donald Trump, I was really supposed to talk about Elon Musk. Excuse me, what Elon Musk has done, and I do want to cover that briefly because it matters. Elon Musk. Yeah. Okay. So this ties in with the whole Israel um, Palestinian issue. Okay. Let me just find. So Elon Musk has been embracing extremists on this platform. He's allowed a lot of them, and when I say extremists, I mean far right extremists. And he allowed a lot of them back on Twitter. And the reason he did that is because he feels a kinship with them. You can see the stuff that he engages with, and the people that he engages with are people who believe in the great replacement theory, the theory that foreigners, immigrants, want to come into America and replace white people. He feeds into that. He believes that. He's not even really American. Let me share my screen here. Okay. So this post is by Yair Rosenberg. He writes, "This is literally the conspiracy theory espoused by the white supremacist who massacred the Pittsburgh Tree of Life synagogue. Musk approves." And let me make this big here. So a guy posted, "To the cowards hiding behind the anonymity of the internet and posting, quote unquote, Hitler was right. You got something you want to say? Why don't you say it to our faces?" And then somebody who goes by the handle of Breaking Bot, the artist formerly known as Eric, he says, "Okay." And then he writes, "Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. I'm deeply disinterested in giving the tiniest shit now about Western Jewish populations coming to the disturbing blah, 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 blah." Elon Musk replies, he weighs in. He doesn't have to. This is a freaking billionaire. This is a billionaire who's got multiple companies to run. He's got Twitter or X. He's got Tesla. He's got SpaceX. He's got things to do. But he decides to weigh in. He wants to chime in with the lowest scum on earth. This man worth hundreds of billions of dollars. And he says, "You have said the actual truth." What? What? Oh, yeah, here's what this guy. I don't care to read the whole thing. that nasty tweet. But that's Elon Musk. That is Elon Musk. And this is why a lot of our tweets, mine especially, mine, you guys know, when you come to a tweet of mine, it's overrun by MAGA hordes. It's overrun by hundreds of hateful scumbags. You know, it's interesting. I've been reporting a lot of tweets because there are people, they say the most vile shit to me. They say stuff that is anti LGBTQ, it's homophobic. They say anti-Semitic stuff to me. I guess they think I'm Jewish. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. If you say something anti-Semitic to me, I'm just as offended if you said something racist to me. I'm offended. I have no time for that shit. So, yeah, it's disgusting. Disgusting. And speaking of disgusting, brings me back to Donald Trump. Donald Trump, who his take, we've known for a long time that Donald Trump is a fan of Adolf Hitler. Donald Trump used to keep a book. I'm saying used to, as if he if he doesn't anymore. But as far as I know, in the past, he used to keep a book of Hitler's speeches by his bedside. Oh yeah, Veronica, thank you for that little thank you for this reminder. That puts a little smile on my face. Truth Social lost a ton of money. Many, many millions of dollars. Many millions of dollars. So yeah, he's a fan of Hitler. I mean, what other reason would you have to keep Hitler's speeches by your bedside? And what other reason would you have for your words? It's not just this whole vermin quote. I don't know if you guys saw this. Midas Touch had created a graphic I thought was fantastic. It showed about 5 different statements that Donald Trump has made that if you line it up, side by side, it's identical. It's almost identical. Oh, was it Mein Kampf? Foxhill Dream says it wasn't a book of his speech, it was Mein Kampf, but I'm guessing that's where his speeches came from anyway. Yeah. Simon says he's quoting Hitler verbatim now. And, it's one thing for him to be quoting Hitler. It's another thing for his millions of followers to look at that and decide, yeah, okay, I'm okay with that. I'm fine. So we're adding to his 91 counts. His 91 felony counts. We're also adding, Hitler admirer. Did I miss something? Did I fucking go to sleep in one universe and wake up in a parallel universe where it's okay to embrace Nazism? That you can still be a viable fucking presidential candidate and quote the most heinous mass murderer in the history of history? We get hit with a fire hose of horrible daily. It's been a fire hose of horrible from him So much nasty stuff. If you were to smack your head, if you were to hit yourself in the forehead every time he said something stupid or did something reprehensible, you'd have a concussion. And his followers, they're still there. They're still giving him money. They don't care. It's maddening. It's maddening. And it cracks me up that people tell me, you have Trump derangement syndrome. No, I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. You know what? I'd be as happy as a clam if I were to wake up tomorrow and that motherfucker didn't have one more word to say. If he just walked away and said nothing else, I'd be like, bye-bye. Bye, Felicia. I'd be happy. I would have nothing else to say about his ass. He can rot for all I care. But he's staying in our face and he's continuing to be a threat. This dude is talking about, he's got this thing called Project 2025. Project 2025 is his plan that I'm sure Stephen Miller has something to do with. It's a plot for revenge, and it's a plot where this shit is so, I don't know, see how they could possibly pull this off, because it's mostly the same jackasses, but they're vetting people right now. They're vetting people who will swear an oath of loyalty to Donald Trump, not to the United States, but to Donald Trump. And these people will swear to let him get away with whatever the hell vengeance he wants to get away with. He will turn the DOJ upside down, fire everybody there. He'll fire anyone and everyone who will possibly hold him accountable today or in the future. And this is not normal. I'm here to tell you it's not normal. And I say that a lot in my tweets. I'm going to keep saying it because you know what? They want this to be normal. The media is driving me fucking bananas. With a few exceptions. With a few exceptions, I'm okay. Our lineup, our nighttime lineup. I would say even going back as far as Nicole Wallace at 4. Nicole Wallace, and then leads to Ari. And people are a little upset with Ari because he keeps having folks on his show that they disagree with, but he's doing his thing. Chris Hayes, Rachel, Alex, Lawrence, Stephanie, that whole lineup is good. Aside from that, I don't know. The media wants the clicks. I imagine that they are not. Oh, Joy Reid. Sorry. How did I forget Joy Reid? Joy Reid. Thank you, Veronica Tello. The media wants their clicks. They want people to keep tuning in. They want people to be nervous. And what they think is that they're putting their fingers on the scale. They're constantly asking this question: is Joe Biden too old? Look at the polls. Look at the polls. The polls are saying that the American people don't want Joe Biden. Get the hell out of here. They are gaslighting. They are gaslighting. That is why the title of tonight's show is Gaslighting Got You Yet? I agree with you 100%. Veronica Tello. Veronica writes here, I want Andrea Mitchell, Chris Jansing, and Katie Tur gone. Gone. Cha says Joe Biden is working. You're damn right he's working. Yesterday, Joe Biden was meeting with President Xi. This is his first meeting with President Xi in about a year. And they were discussing some promising topics. First and foremost, a big uh, point of concern in the American public has been the topic of fentanyl, and they are going to work together. President Xi says he's going to do everything he can to try to stem the flow of fentanyl from there to here. And you know, I'm sorry, if your name is President Xi, you don't have to try. You just say, "This is what's happening. This is what's happening." And somebody asked Joe Biden at the end of the press conference yesterday. They said, "In the past, you've called President Xi a dictator. Have you changed your mind about that? Is he still a dictator?" And Joe was like, "Well, yeah, because he is. That's because he is what he is. He doesn't. He meets the definition of what we call a dictator." And some people were like, "Oh, why didn't he say it to his face?" You know what? Because he's not a fucking idiot, and he's trying to get something done. He's not trying to be productive. He's trying to outline and highlight the areas where we agree with each other. He's not trying to antagonize the guy. You know, they a lot of these MAGAs think that, strong leadership is getting in someone's face and being confrontational. Oh, really? So why is it then that your dear leader was bending over backwards and kowtowing to all of these murderous dictators, writing love letters and all with the fawning praise? Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, okay? That is not what you believe. And in any case, President Biden played it right. He didn't play it weak and soft. He played it straight up. Some other stuff that is very important is that our militaries are going to begin talking to each other again. What does that mean? I don't think President Xi or China wants a war. I know there's rumblings about Taiwan, and of course, there's rumblings. They want us to think that shit is teetering on the brink of World War III and chaos. I don't believe that. I am worried. I am a little bit nervous about the things happening in the Middle East. Not going to lie about that, because that shit could go from bad to worse in a heartbeat. But right now, the folks that we have running the show on our behalf, calling the shots on our behalf, I trust them. I trust that they are sober, that they are responsible, and they are going to do everything within their power to make sure that we steer clear of a world war. We don't want that shit. We don't want it. We do not want it. Yeah, Smila J. With the thank you, the reminder that the right wing they were pissed off that President Xi had a motorcade, and that the streets that his motorcade was driving down were lined with Chinese flags. Well, San Francisco is one of those areas in the United States that is uniquely populated, heavily populated with people from China. Like for a very, very long time, for decades, that's how it's been. So, Duh. Okay. Now, now, you guys can hear me now, right? I for some reason I saw my thing was muted. This thing is wacky, wackadoo. Okay, good. So yeah, overall, I would say yesterday's meeting with President Xi was a success. Um, but here's some more gaslighting. I saw whenever you're scrolling through Twitter, just let me just say this as a reminder. Whenever you're scrolling through Twitter, you have to question what you're seeing and why people are saying it. Okay. Case in point, there were a bunch of tweets showing a video of uh, Secretary Antony Blinken, and it looked. Oh, have to recap the last few minutes? Oh no, I'm not going to. There were videos of Antony Blinken looking a bit nervous, looking like he was nervous during the meeting, during the joint meeting. Um, it could have been any number of reasons why he looked like that. Maybe he had to go to the bathroom. I don't know, but that's like it was a 20-second snippet they took from this 8 hours worth of meetings, and they used that to characterize the whole thing as Antony Blinken was scared that President Biden was in over his head. Come on, man. Guys, come on. You're talking crazy. That's bullshit. People are reaching for any kind of thing right now to create some kind of drama to bait Democrats who, you know what? I'm frankly I'm a little bit disappointed in quite a few Democrats. I feel like you shouldn't be chasing after a goddamn Dean. What's his name? Dean Phillips? Dean, I want to say Dean Mitchell, but maybe it's Dean Phillips or RFK Jr. or Marianne Williamson. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Stop with that. If you want to lose, if you want to reelect Donald Trump, just say it. Just come out and say it. But don't say that you'd rather vote for Marianne Williamson because you think she's going to win, because there's zero chance that she can win. There's zero chance that a Dean Phillips, I can't even remember if that's his name or not. He doesn't have a chance of winning. And neither does Robert F. fucking Kennedy, anti-vaxxer extraordinaire. Not a chance. Or Joe Manchin. Thank you, Cha-Cha. Yeah, none of those jackasses have a shot at winning. It's President Biden or bust. Get it through your thick skulls. Yeah, is he older than we would like? Sure. But until he shows that he is incapable of doing the job, and for all intents and purposes, that dude is still capable. Not only is he capable of doing the job, but he is doing it damn well. Our GDP went up to 4.9%. Donald Trump was bragging about his ability to get it to 3%, and he couldn't even hit 3%. And now we're at 4.9%. Donald Trump is 3 years younger than Joe Biden, but acts 3 years older. Acts like he's at least 3 years older. Donald Trump acts like the dementia is full blown. Yeah, you know what? Ask Miller J. He said he tripped on a sandbag and they say he's incapable. You know what? I would have probably tripped on that same sandbag too. Yeah, I'm incapable because I tripped on because I'm a human being with like only two legs, and one of those legs tripped on a on a sandbag that I wasn't expecting to be there because my staff should have taken care of that shit. Has anybody ever had to give a speech? Huh? I have. It's nerve-wracking. 9 times out of 10, when you're giving a speech, you're getting up on a stage, right? And you're wearing me, I'm wearing dress shoes. If I have to give a speech, I'm not giving a speech in sneakers. I'm wearing dress shoes. And dress shoes are not known for having great traction. They're just not. There's slippery bottoms. And I swear to God, my biggest fear is slipping in those dress shoes as I'm on my way out to the podium. Watch your Soko. Excellent point. Imagine being followed by cameras every minute of your day. You know? Yeah, he's the president, but he's just human too, like the rest of us. Anyway, enough of that. Before I wrap this thing up, and I do intend to wrap this up soon, but this is probably one of the things I wanted to talk mostly about today. Before I get to it, please remember, if you're just joining us in tonight's show, please remember to hit the subscribe and the like button. And if you like this content, by the way, if you like this content, do me a favor, tell your friends, about it. Um, yeah, ask them to join us live. Normally, I do this show on Tuesday nights. I couldn't do it this Tuesday. Um, but yeah, tell people about us. Let's make it a party. And last but not least, we have the Israel Hamas situation. But people have been saying Israel Hamas, and I get it because Israel's beef is mostly with Hamas, not so much Palestine. But uh, you know what? It's not looking like that to me. It's not looking like that. And I've been doing my damnedest to stay above this topic, to stay away from this. I've kind of been making excuses and I don't really know much about, but you know what? I know, about as much as the average person. Oh, Veronica Tello, my friend, thank you so much. Thank you for that. Thank you for the kind donation. Um, Here's how I feel. Hamas launched a heinous, disgusting attack on Israel. They went in people's homes, dragged them out of their homes. They killed a bunch of kids at a music concert. They were just at a festival. Just, imagine when you were 20 years old and at a concert and just out loving life and got your whole life ahead of you, you know? I feel that. I got kids in their 20s, I got kids in their teens. And these monsters came in and destroyed their lives and destroyed their families. Hamas is disgusting. Hamas needs to be eliminated. Now, with that said, Israel has every right to defend itself. They have every right to defend themselves. They know how Hamas operates. I've heard some things about the Israeli military and Israeli intelligence, and it's supposed to be top notch. Top notch. You mean to tell me you've been living side by side with these guys for all this time, you don't have a 100% map made up of their tunnel system. You don't have a bead on every single person who works for Hamas right now. You don't have that kind of intel. You should know when each of them is farting. You should know when they burp. You should know all these things. And you should know how they operate. You should know exactly where they have their military operations staged. Do they have them staged in hospitals, or are you guessing? Or are you just saying that? For all I know, they do. Why would Israel make it up? Why would they say, why would they intentionally just blow up a hospital? Because that's a war crime, right? To me, it just seems like they are indiscriminately bombing. I remember the moments, the week and the weeks after the terrorist attack, people were saying, Israelis were saying, flatten Gaza, turn it into a parking lot. And I understand that because I felt that's how I felt after 9/11. I've said that, if I had been a little bit younger, I might have enlisted. I was mad. I remember that. And for all intents and purposes, what happened on October 7th seemed worse than our 9/11, just because they have fewer people, and this was people being pulled out of their homes. Um, so I understand the sentiment. I understand the anger, the bloodlust. I understand the desire for revenge. But at some point, cooler heads have to prevail. And that doesn't mean you let Hamas walk away scot free. No, but don't you guys have special forces? I keep wondering that myself. Like, instead of hammering, 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 and you're killing everybody but Hamas, some numbers are as high as 11,000 people killed, 11,000 Palestinians killed. 11,000. Now, it's tough to compare one evil to another evil. Okay, it's hard. It's tough to say. Well, 1,500 Israelis were killed, but 11,000 Palestinians were killed, and say that one is worse than the other. If you're just going by numbers, yeah, 11,000 is way worse, especially when you consider that Israel knows that where they are bombing, highly populated civilian areas. Yeah, but they gave him a chance. They told him to leave. You know what? It's not that easy. It's not that easy, especially if Hamas is telling him, don't leave. People are saying that, oh, the Palestinians, they voted for Hamas. Oh, really? It's like we all voted for Donald Trump. Hmm? Like we all voted for Donald Trump, right? Because Donald Trump was the American president. He was the American president. He did establish uh, laws based on the fact that he was the president. Does that mean we're all responsible for him being in office? I voted for the other guy. Woman. There's plenty of people. There are probably a fair amount of Palestinians who support or supported Hamas who no longer do and wish they could be free of them. What can they do? What can they do? Hamas is fully armed, and the Palestinian civilians, are caught between a rock. The rock is the Hamas, and a hard place, which is the Israeli government. And the Israeli government has their foot on the Palestinians' necks. If they're not allowing people to settle, they're being occupied. They're not given the rights as, full-fledged citizens like you and I, like second-class citizens in their own land. Watcher Soko and says, and go where? You know what I was kind of concerned about was that Israel is saying, okay, everybody evacuate. So all the Palestinians, they pack, and they go into these camps, these horrible camps where they're going to stay for an indefinite period of time, a year, 2 years. How long is this conflict going to go on? How long is it going to last? When is it going to be safe to come back to the rubble that your house is now, that your building or your house is right now, right? Because they're saying this is not going to be quick. It's going to be months, maybe even years. So you're gone from your home for 2 years. It's not safe. Are you even allowed to come back? The Palestinians going into an even worse situation now. They have nowhere to go. It's fucked up. With that said, there has been a trend that's happening. U.S. should not hold back for Ukraine, saying don't attack Russia. Is that what's happening? There's been a trend on TikTok. I don't know if you guys have heard this, where there's a lot of young kids watching these TikTok videos or making TikTok videos, and they're talking about Osama bin Laden. They're saying that they just read Osama bin Laden's letter to America. Oh, Cecile Kazimi, thank you, my friend. Thank you so kindly for that donation. When he was still alive, Osama bin Laden had written a letter to America. Is basically saying, I'm completely paraphrasing, but it's basically saying that your government wants you to think that I, Osama bin Laden, and my fellow Afghanis, my fellow Arabs, my fellow men and women in the Middle East, that we are Muslim extremists, Islamic extremists, that we are terrorists. And he's basically saying, what do you think your government is? You guys, your government is bombing us, is bombing us with the highest amount of technology and blah, 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 blah. So that's what he basically, in a nutshell, that's what his letter to America is. So Osama's letter is filled with a lot of actual facts. There are facts in his letter, undeniable facts. But then he mixes that letter with falsehoods and misrepresentations. And so that is like the ultimate in gaslighting. When you give somebody a whole lot of truth and then you slip some lies in there that are validated by those truths. Does that make sense? That makes sense to you? So because it's like it's like putting it's like putting 10 rotten apples in a barrel full of good apples. um, that means it doesn't mean that your whole barrel is rotten, but it means you got some rotten apples in that barrel and you intentionally put those you intentionally hid those rotten apples in that barrel um, so that people will eat that shit up. And that's what the young kids are doing right now. Um, Osama bin Laden was the bad guy, plain and simple. He killed innocent people. Oh, and he addresses that too. Oh, you think they're so innocent they've elected such and such? No, 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 no. If you're making war, you make war against soldiers. You consider yourself a soldier, a warrior, then go fight another warrior. Don't bomb unsuspecting civilians who don't even have a chance to defend themselves. That's terrorism. That's terrorism. No other description fits it. You have to look at it that way. You have to. And then that brings me to the other the other side. And there is another side. And so what if our bombs? What if we see ourselves as the good guys? We believe ourselves to be the good guys. And we are dropping bombs, I guess well-intended bombs. Is there such a thing? Are there bombs that yeah, there's no such thing as dropping a bomb with good intentions. They're all meant to kill people. They say that we go to extreme lengths to keep civilians safe. But what makes our bomb dropping any different than what Israel is doing right now? What's different is that there are cameras pointed where the bombs are being dropped. We don't often have cameras pointed where our bombs are being dropped. Yeah. Look, the bottom line is this. The killing cannot continue. What is ever going to be solved by all of this killing? What is going to be solved? You feel better now that you killed? How many people, how many deaths does it take for you to feel better? Because here's the deal, right? Hmm. Okay. Let's take this sneaker right here, right? Let's say this is the Palestinian people. And Hamas is holding the Palestinian people up as a human shield, right? So Israel's military is trying to get to Hamas by punching its way repeatedly through this sneaker, hoping to find Hamas on the other side of the sneaker. But you know what? Hamas is not even on the other side of the sneaker. Hamas is all the way the fuck over there, away from your bombing. They're pounding Gaza with all these bombs, and Hamas is not even, they're not even there. I'm disappointed that the Israeli intelligence is not using, those little drones that you see kids playing with in the park and stuff like that. Zzz. Why aren't they using those shits to go through the tunnels and pick up, find? You must have what's the infrared. They must have those things with infrared. Cha cha, my friend. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you so kindly for the kind donation. Send some damn send some drones into those spider web like tunnels to find the hostages. First of all, find the hostages, find Hamas, and instead of dropping, these bunker buster bombs, use a more targeted approach. Use a scalpel instead of a sledgehammer. You've already reduced Gaza to rubble. They've completely destroyed all these buildings, killed all these people. I keep seeing video of little babies being pulled out from underneath rubble and concrete and shit like that. Come on. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to do this shit. They're saying that they don't want to do a ceasefire. They're saying they don't want to do a ceasefire because they're afraid that Hamas will attack them again. Well, if Hamas attacks you again, then the ceasefire is over, right? But the way my crazy brain is working, I feel like Israel has made up its mind that it wants to do this thing. I can't imagine a good reason why you can't have a ceasefire for 3 days. Why not? If the other side holds to it, and we can get earlier today, I heard news that a few dozen hostages, Hamas said they will release dozens of hostages in exchange for a ceasefire. Why aren't we doing this? I can't imagine if I was a family member of those hostages, and Israel did not immediately jump at that offer to send them back, I'd be furious. I'd be furious. Besides myself, livid. I don't know. This is an extremely tough situation, but I know in my heart right now, all they're doing is just piling up bodies. And you know what? At the end of the day, this is only creating more terrorists. This is creating more terrorists. This is creating more people who, let me put it this way, it's creating more people who are watching their brothers, destroyed. They're watching their little baby sisters killed. They're seeing their parents, their sons and daughters murdered. And once you take all that away from people, life before this bombing run was already bad for the Palestinians, just so you know. Just so you know. And how do I know? Because I've been trying to bone up on all the stuff that I missed being willfully ignorant about this situation in the Middle East. And I've been willfully ignorant about it because it didn't have anything to do with me. I'm being perfectly honest. I don't know anybody in Israel. I don't know anybody in Palestine. I don't. So it didn't concern me. I have my own things to worry about, bills to pay and rent to pay and it sounds messed up, but I'm being honest, I didn't have any skin in the game over there, but I kind of feel like now can't stay silent, I guess. So, yeah, so I'd learned that life was already pretty bad. Like only 10% of people in Palestine had drinkable water. Only 10% of people had drinkable water. Kids were getting sick, diarrhea and vomiting because they were drinking bad water. This is something that, most of us take for granted. You put your glass under the sink, you run the tap and you got water. And you don't have to worry about going to the hospital. Um, or you have your water from a refrigerator, even better, it's filtered. That's like a luxury to a Palestinian. Um, they get 3 hours of electricity per day. 3 hours of electricity. I can't even imagine life like that. 3 hours of electricity. And then if you run out of your rationed amount of electricity, then you have battery or you have darkness. Add to that the already shitty quality of life that they're experiencing. They have no jobs. If you want to go to a hospital, you have to take like 3 buses or something, and it's bad. It's bad. So you're adding insult to injury by now bombing the shit out of them and saying that, well, we're trying to hit Hamas. Well, fucking hit them. Go after Hamas. My name is Abdul. Um, I have a grocery store. I have a fruit stand. There's no terrorists in my family in this neighborhood, but you are bombing me and my whole family. And, it's a horrible, 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 horrible situation. I'm on the side of humanity. That's the side I'm on. I'm on the side that abhors the bombing of children, that abhors the bombing of civilians, that abhors the bombing of hospitals, that abhors hiding military equipment inside hospitals, that abhors using human beings as human shields with your chicken hearted selves. I heard one of the leaders of Hamas the other day saying something to the effect of, well, if they have to kill Palestinians, and so be it, they'll be martyrs for our great nation. We welcome this. Huh? You welcome you are far away from the bombing. You're perfectly fine if they continue to mow down all these innocent people. So I'm on the side that abhors the bad actors in this situation. And there are bad actors in this. And there has to be a solution. There has to be a solution that doesn't involve genocide. And I know that word is loaded too, but you got to call it how you see it. Right now, it looks like genocide to me. Looks like genocide. If you are killing massive amounts of people who had nothing to do with the terrorist attack on your country, it's almost as if we oh my god. It's almost as if we invaded a country that had nothing to do with 9/11, like Iraq. Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. Saddam Hussein, that wasn't him. He was a bad person anyway, but he didn't have anything to do with 9/11. And they sold us a lie. They sold us a lie to get us into Iraq. And so that made us the bad guys. Yeah. So does this mean that every atrocity, every horrible thing, every bomb that lands from our country on civilians, that we are responsible for that? We're responsible? And when I say we, I mean us. I mean, those of us who voted for President Biden, you know? He's the president right now, right? I think about things like this. Sometimes you wake up one day and things are pretty straight forward and crystal clear to you, and then you think about them for a little while longer, and they're not as clear as they originally were. You got to think about these things. How complicit are we? Do we want this bombing to? No, we don't. We don't. And I honestly did not know when we were in Iraq that all of those hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians were being killed. I did not know. I was horrified after the fact. Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of this information is kept from us. It's kept from us. It's very sad. And I don't want to bum you guys. I didn't want to bum you guys out. Um, but I did want you to know that these are things that I think about from time to time. I don't know. Oh, Fox Hill Dream says, didn't America do it during World War II? The United States, is still the only country to drop an atomic bomb on not one but two major cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We killed hundreds of thousands of people that day. And in the long run, I think it ended up being millions, maybe. All the people who were, you know, who died from radiation sickness. Yeah, boy, I really took a took a left turn into Bummersville. Yeah, it can't all be fun and games every now and then. So every once in a while, you have to have a serious conversation. Watcher Soko says it's very easy for us to sit back and trust that our government is keeping us safe and doing it properly. Yeah, I think it boils down to intentions. You have to believe that your government, your leaders, your elected officials have your safety in mind. Your safety is up front. It's prioritized. This is why, our taxes go to funding the military. We don't want to be uh unprotected. We don't want to be unsafe. We all want to be safe, And the problem is, what are we giving up in exchange for our safety? General Putnam says, thank goodness for Biden's age, wisdom, and 50 years of experience with turmoil, politics, and world leaders. He is the right man at the right time. Let me say something about that. Because I heard President Biden say that he believes that there should be a two-state solution, and he believes that there should be a pause. It should be a humanitarian pause. Now, he's saying that because he can't step on Israel's toes. At the end of the day, Israel is running this show the same way we were running our own show when we were going after bin Laden and but I agree with General Putnam. You know, at the end of the day, I choose to believe that President Biden has the best intentions. He knows how this stuff works. I don't think he wants innocent people to die. That's not the guy that we elected. Nope. Yeah. But again, this is not like this is not a situation that requires one smart person coming up with a solution. This is a situation that requires a room full of the biggest brains possible getting together with representatives from Israel and representatives from Palestine and hammering out some difficult solutions to this. And the solution has to be something that leaves both sides dissatisfied. It has to leave Israel feeling like we didn't get everything we wanted, and Palestine feeling like we didn't get everything we wanted. And it's got to be as close to an even split of dissatisfaction as possible. That's the only way you have a good compromise. You have a good compromise when both sides walk away dissatisfied. That makes sense? Meaning they're somewhat satisfied, but not completely, is what I mean. We didn't get everything we wanted. We wanted 10. We only got 7.5. I can live with it. That's where the solution is. 7.5. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave it on that note. It's a little bit positive. Solution. This is what, we need is solutions. And the solution has to be all, as all encompassing, excuse me, has to be as all encompassing as it possibly could be. Try to get as many things for both sides as you can, but also manage their expectations and let them know you are not getting everything you want. It's that simple. And Diane agreed. Bibi has to go. Netanyahu does not want a two-state solution. He does not. And it's for that reason that he promoted Hamas instead of the Palestinian Authority. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for another interesting episode of Late Night with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And folks, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this show. I'll be perfectly frank with you. I expected there to be a bigger audience tonight, and I'll be perfectly frank with you. I'm a little bit bummed. I'm kind of bummed. I can be honest with you guys. It doesn't make me happy. It doesn't mean that I don't love you guys. I totally do. And I appreciate the fact that you guys showed up for me. You guys are my ride or die. You're my uh you're my every time showing up, folks. I love you guys. I thank you for that. But, you know, I don't know if I can continue to do this if such a significant slice of my own followers can't be bothered to show up. You know, maybe I shouldn't take it personally, but I do. I do put some time and energy into this, and it does take me away from the fam. That's why it's why every now and then I'll skip a week or two, just to kind of balance things out. Maybe I'm not producing the kind of content, maybe this kind of content, this, talking to you guys, frankly, about current events. Maybe this is what people are trying to tell me by not showing up, by not tuning in. It's like, we think your content sucks. I'm just having a very real moment with myself and with you guys right now. You know, um, I'm going to try to hang in there, but I'm letting you know, if I can't turn this ship around, maybe I need to close it up and figure out some other um a different approach, maybe a different theme, something. I don't know. But I love you guys. I thank you for being here for me every time. And I look forward to seeing you guys. Wait, why am I playing Charlie's Angels? Wait, there we go. Get cheddar biscuits going. So I look forward to seeing you guys here, same time, same place. I love you all. You're very kind. That's Mila J. Thank you for that. That's an interesting thought there, Watcher Soko. There are quite a few live streams going on these days. Thank you, Pam Ham, with your fun name. I was glad actually to be able to talk with you guys, frankly, and at length too, just to talk out some of those ideas, those concepts. Yeah, I just realized you can guarantee there's going to be some troll. Like there's like 11 people left here. One of them is a troll, and he's going to be harassing me in my My reply is like, you got you got 1.2 million followers. You only had 11 people. I guarantee it. It's fine. Whatever. Stretchy pants. Oh shit! I have to be on my best behavior. Me with my diabetes. All right, you guys. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. It is that time. You need to leave.